Oh, hey guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University. I always forget how quickly this thing opens up. Anyway, okay, so somebody's already in the chat, which is awesome. Manuel Cabeza, what's up, brother? Let's see. What do we have here really quick? We're going to be talking about does Spider-Man need some fixing? All right, so check this out. I have been putting up reviews for Spider-Man for some time now. Sean Sandry, my Eye of Agamotto, what's up, brother? Okay, so check this out. I've been putting up some reviews for Spider-Man, all right, for both current comic books right now. That's the Chip Zdarsky and the Dan Slott comic. I haven't been doing the Brian Michael Bendis, Miles Morales Spider-Man. It's just too much. I'm thinking about trying to cut back on some comics, and everybody's like, more, more, more. Yeah, I want to expand the channel more than just reviews, but we'll see what we could do. Maybe we'll cut something else and then maybe bring that one in. We'll see. We'll see what the demand is. Either way, I'm also covering the Avengers comic, which has the main Avengers comic actually has Spider-Man in there in the team. So this being the case, I'm getting a lot of exposure to Spider-Man. Everybody's getting my view of Spider-Man. My view of Spider-Man is that this is exactly, and mind you, this is my view. It's just what I feel that this is the natural progression of Spider-Man. I've always felt that Spider-Man was that kid who he never grew up. He's ridiculously intelligent, but his EQ, his emotional IQ, is very low. He's still got that mindset of a child. He's still going to get into combat, and rather than being serious and grim like Captain America and try and talk you down from fighting, you know what I'm saying? He's going to try and make fun of you and insult you and get you more mad so that he can, try and take you down in that regard. Everybody's got their own way of taking people down. When Tony Stark gets into combat with somebody, he's constantly trying to make you feel like you're inferior, building himself up. He's got his huge narcissistic ego, feeding him, and he's just going to, boom, hit you as hard as he can with the whole, you're stupid, I'm smart, ha ha ha, repulsor, tank bomb, boom. I always loved that for the first Iron Man movie. That was the best. Gets shot down out of the sky and turns around to the tank and walks away. But again, that's just my opinion, that this is the natural progression of where Peter Parker Spider-Man would go. What I'm seeing is that the vast majority of people who are looking at my reviews seem to disagree with me. Awesome. I'm never going to be too old, God help me, to ever believe that my way is the right way. You know what I'm saying? Like, just make no mistake, there are many things that Dan Slott does that I already disagree with vehemently. The most vehement, believe it or not, is just him being with Mockingbird, and mostly this is because, I mean, let's face it. Look, I would love, if I was in the Marvel Universe, I'd love to go and have a nice little, romantic conversation with Queen Medusa. You know what I'm saying? The problem is, I believe that in truth, she's totally out of my league. You know what I'm saying? Like, she's royalty. She is, boom, she's up there. And I'd just be like, hey, I'm just this jabroni coming up trying to mac on you. You know what I'm saying? She wouldn't be buying that. I mean, come on. You know what I'm saying? At the absolute best, I'd be like the little boy toy like Johnny Storm was. You know what I'm saying? So, more my league would be somebody who, likes to joke around, likes to have some fun a little bit more often. You know what I'm saying? But my opinions of Bobby Morse, Mockingbird, is that she is way too smart, way too everything for Peter Parker. Like, there is nothing that Peter Parker can get except that, he's a good-looking, boyish, figure. It'd be like, I don't know, I guess, do older women fall? You know what? No, absolutely, because older women, I was going to say, do older women fall for Justin Bieber? Maybe. More than that, older women fell for Edward Cullen. That's the Twilight vampire, who the one who twinkles, who sparkles as opposed to burns up in sunlight. So, like, if older women could fall for an absolute chump stain like that, I get that people would want to go for Peter Parker. This, I've always felt, was the natural progression of Spider-Man, but I hear a lot of people who are complaining that, no, this isn't Spider-Man. And I do hearken back to the days when he was always trying to prove himself, to the memory of his Uncle Ben and things like that. Oh, dude, I get that. And yeah, I do miss those days, but I also remember the days those exact same days when he was making fun of people, and things like that. There was always the struggle, but there was always the very childish attitude. And I always just felt that he never really grew up out of that. But I'm going to take it to the comments now and see what's up. Because, yeah, I love the idea that there's going to be a dialogue. And literally, this is the only thing that I want to talk about in this week's podcast, because I've just been seeing so much of this that I actually want to address this. And maybe, who knows, maybe, if we can keep it civil, maybe somebody like Dan Slott will actually go and look at this. You know what I'm saying? Who knows? Apparently, these guys actually pay attention to some of these absolute rude SOBs out there who are just, tearing up comics and screaming at people and, this sucks and this is stupid and making every single slur and discrimination in the book, I'm trying to keep it, real. I'm trying to keep it on the real. But, yeah, let's check this out here. So, Manuel Capesa comments on almost every single one of my videos. He says, "Is something wrong with Spider-Man? Less than Spider-Man problem, more as how Marvel as a company gives the character a lack of a change from a guy from high school to grow up out of it, really." This doesn't differ with anything that I said, really. My point is that I've never seen him as the type to grow out of that. At the same time, I am also a lot more complacent with my comics. I am more willing to sit back and let the story be told to me, as opposed to try and dictate how I want the story told to me. There's no problem with either. There's only a problem when you start being like a real jerk about it. And, it's one thing to use explanatives, whatever, who cares? You know what I'm saying? Like, if somebody's really got a problem with dropping an F-bomb here and there, come on, man. I don't like to use that language a lot, but if somebody uses it against me, I'm not going to be offended or triggered. You know what I'm saying? It's just whatever. It is what it is. But what Manuel is saying, yeah, that makes sense. The writers haven't really pulled him out. If anybody in the comments could mention, has anybody seen a writer for Spider-Man that they actually enjoyed? And Steve Ditko doesn't count. All right, he's not coming back to write Spider-Man. The guy's like 92. Maybe he's 93 by now, but he's old. He's not interested in coming back. He's a really set in his ways old dude who's just, not having it. Anyway, does anybody know of a Spider-Man writer who wrote for Spider-Man that they actually enjoyed and thought that like he was actually maturing and things like that? I don't know. Give me an idea on that, because I don't. Offhand, I can't really remember, but there's been a lot of writers for Spider-Man. Believe it or not, one of my favorite Spider-Man comics for the longest time was Web of Spider-Man, and I felt that he was very mature in that. At the same time, even in Spectacular Spider-Man, even in Amazing Spider-Man, all the titles, he was always more than any other hero, even more than Iron Man. He was the type who, if he didn't agree with what you were doing and you were a superhero, he would punch you to try and get you to change his mind. You know what I'm saying? To try and get you to change your mind, or to tell you that, like that's his way of saying. Like, how like, it happens with my wife too sometimes, and I have to tell her, like, it's kind of not cool. When we're sitting there talking and I say something that, just like shocking or whatever, and she'll just like, like that, She really doesn't do it anymore because I point out, I'm like, okay, babe, if I were to do that to you, acceptable? No, absolutely not. So why is it acceptable you do it to me? It's not. She's pretty reasonable. You know what I'm saying? She's usually pretty reasonable. So, similarly, like if some guy like Wolverine, saying, I want to kill this guy. You want to kill this guy? How dare you? Well, I think I'm going to kill the guy. Oh, okay, whoa. Did I kill the guy yet? Did I try to kill the guy? Like, dude, stop. Like, just stop. I know that heroes fight each other and things like that, but like Daredevil and Wolverine have gotten into it. You know what I'm saying? Wolverine's probably the best case. Actually, no. Wolverine and Punisher are the two best cases. All right? Maybe Punisher more so than Wolverine, but either way, like these guys just, like they want to just kill people. But there's always some other hero there to try and stop them. And the idea of fighting them for it, it's like this guy just murdered 60 people, okay? He just firebombed this entire building. All these people are dead now. And, this guy wants to go up and kill him. Rather than grabbing him yourself and moving him or whatever you're going to do. Because, let's be realistic. Wolverine wants to kill this guy for such and such. Okay, Spider-Man, he webs the guy, not even Wolverine. He webs the bad guy, pulls him up, jumps up, grabs him, flies away. Wolverine can't jump, he can't fly, he can't glide, he can't fart and propel himself that way. What's the guy going to do? He's going to, like, get on his motorcycle, steal Scott's motorcycle, you know what I'm saying, Cyclops' motorcycle, and chase after him? Like, what's he going to do? You know what I'm saying? And Spider-Man brings the guy to the police station. Here you go. Friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Leaves one of those little cards on him. Friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. And flies away. Like, why not that instead of getting into a fist fight with Wolverine? Again, you could chalk this up to bad writing, but, like, this is the way that I've seen Spider-Man has always been written. Here's Cloak and Dagger. These two poor sons of guns. They were, like, tortured, and they had drugs put into them and experimentation and kept high, and God only knows what happened to these poor, literally, these poor souls who have, like, the weight of their religion weighing down on top of them and everything, and Cloak constantly being persecuted as, well, you're dark, it's not just a black thing, you're clearly a very dark character, you're made out of dark force. Hello. So, like, even the priests are coming down on him. You know what I'm saying? Like Father Delgado, if you remember from the comics, and the Spectacular Spider-Man stories. I've always seen Spider-Man as this guy who just, you know, oh, you want to kill the guy who's responsible for torturing you and turning you into what you are? No way, I'm going to fight you guys. Holy crap, dude. This guy, do you think that maybe you could just turn your back for a second? You know what I'm saying? Or try and, you know, do your webbing stuff to stop people, to stop them, and then try and have a conversation that way? Like, does it have to be, I'm going to beat the crap out of you and put you into a freaking coma? Like, I've always felt that the reason why Dr. Octopus is angry and will probably always be angry at Parker is because, like, dude, at the end of the day, I am just a regular human. And it's one thing that, you know, I'm doing things that you don't think are appropriate, that you don't like, and that, you know, you also want to punch me in the head a bunch of times. But the idea that you constantly made fun of me and insulted me and belittled me my every single time that we got into a conversation as opposed to talking to me. Meanwhile, I've been dealing with being made fun of my entire life. Like, think about that. The bullied becomes the bullied. Or becomes the bully, because Peter Parker was always bullied when he was a kid, constantly. Flash Thompson coming down on him like that. But Flash was able to apologize and say, listen, I had my own things I was trying to deal with, and I was an absolute jerk. I'm really sorry. I know that doesn't make up for it, but, you know, like, seriously, I am so sorry. When has Peter ever apologized to anybody for the things he did? And he's always been a hothead. You can hate the idea. One of these days I'm going to actually do the story of Spider-Man versus Wolverine. That one issue comes like a giant-sized comic. Like, it was a messed up thing. He turns around and he kills that chick Charlie, who, mind you, wanted Wolverine to kill her. She wanted Wolverine to kill her, and Spider-Man gets into this big fight with Logan, punches the heck out of him and everything like that, like, practically tries to kill him. You know what I'm saying? Because he's trying to kill this girl who wants... It's a euthanasia thing, but Spider-Man... All lives matter no matter what, except yours. If you're trying to take a life, then I'm going to take yours. I'm like, dude, holy crap. And then, yeah, maybe you could say, oh, Wolverine could take it, you know, but how much does freaking Spider-Man really know about Wolverine? So, you know, like, just, I've always felt that he was just so immature. And yes, of course he was written that way. I felt like he was pretty much always written that way. Way too immature to really get it, you know? Okay, wow, comments are going really far. This is a pretty cool topic. Nice. Maybe you should cut out Captain Marvel. Also, start doing top 10s. You know what? I could do that because, yeah, you saw, I am actually genuinely upset about the way that they're writing Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers. Genuinely upset about that. You're right. Good. I actually thought about that, but I didn't want to mix it up in this one too much. The Dude Abides. What's up, brother? Yeah, I've definitely seen you before. What's going on, man? We don't talk enough. Spidey, the Eternal Teenage Ruffian. Nice, I like it. Sean Sadrai. Jerry Dugan said Beta Ray Bill will appear in Guardians of the Galaxy. Yes, I know. I think you actually sent me that thing also, the cover or something like that. But yeah, dude, I'm a huge Beta Ray Bill fan. I'm a huge anything with Walter Simonson fan. You know what I'm saying? You know what? I would actually like to ask, one of these days, maybe ask Walter Simonson, what would he do with Spider-Man? That, I think, would be interesting. Excuse me. The Dude Abides. Zero emotional growth as a character. Exactly. His intelligence quotient, his IQ, extremely high. His emotional quotient, No. I don't know. And even Dan Slott on Twitter has said, no, I think that his emotional IQ is more like that of a 15-year-old. I'm like, cool, man. I would have said a 12-year-old, but like he maybe he's not as bad as those 12-year-olds that you'd hear on the headset when you're playing like an Xbox game on multiplayer or something, you know? Like you hear those kids, you know, F you, your mom, I slept with your mom. And dude, shut up, man. Go back and watch Glee. You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe he's not quite that bad. So, okay, 15-year-old, maybe, see, I feel like Slott knows Spider-Man better than I do. You know what I'm saying? Let's see. The Dude Abides also says, give us an Old Man Parker story. You laugh? He actually writes, haha, after that. You laugh? Oh, we didn't really get an old one. We got that Spider-Man, that wasn't Spider-Man Noir. Shoot, what was that one where he had he gave Mary Jane cancer by being with her? Yeah. What was that one? That was kind of an Old Man Parker story. Sean says, the only time I find Spidey annoying is when he complains to Punisher about killing. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, like his complaints to Punisher. You shouldn't kill people. Shut up, man. You shouldn't web people. How about that? It's all sticky. It gets in your hair. You know what I'm talking about. So, the Dude Abides. Sniff him out. I think you mean snuff him out. You also say you need some internal conflict. All Peter has is Uncle Ben. He's also got Aunt May. He's got every single person in his life. Like Peter really. You remember? This was actually under Dan Slott. This was before he went to the Superior Spider-Man storyline. So before the 700s. He had the Nobody Else Dies. So I think this was around issue number 600. He actually had Nobody Dies. You know, that thing. Where he was going after Doc Ock, who was trying to blow up everything, after a really cool storyline where Doc Ock got to put Iron Man, Tony Stark, in his place. I like that. Anything where you put Stark in his place is great. But yeah, he went after Doc Ock, and Rhino was outside, the original Rhino. And he grabs Silver Sable and puts her. This was when Silver Sable died. She only recently came back in the latest issues of Spider-Man, and says, you know, I'm going to kill you. So Spider-Man, you can either stop and try and say, like, I already realize I'm gonna die. Doc Ock is going to kill us all. There's nothing I can do about it. I'm not smart enough to stop him. I don't think you can stop him either. He's smarter than you. So I'm going to stay here, and I'm going to do one last thing in my life. I'm going to kill Silver Sable. Now, you can try and stop me if you want. If you think that you want to waste your time and try and stop me, and then everybody dies, including her also, fine. Otherwise, I'm going to just kill her while you go on ahead and do whatever. It was like such a ridiculous... it was so absurd, and I mean like in a good way, because it's like I can absolutely see Alexandre, the Rhino, doing something like that. I could totally see him just thinking, I'm going to make, you know, one last statement. You know what I'm saying? And he's not smart enough, he's not bright enough to think anything else. I thought that was amazing. And then afterwards, that was actually when he Spider-Man realized not too long after that obviously his whole thing of, you know, nobody else dies, it's not realistic. It was never realistic. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, that's kind of where that came from. Anytime I'm involved in a situation, nobody dies. Like that was very immature. But I thought that was perfectly in character with Peter. He's always had that angst about him, you know? He's always had, Aunt May can't afford rent. I got to go out and I got to work. I got to deal with J. Jonah Jameson. Man, everybody thinks that I'm bad because the Bugle says that I'm bad. But there are other papers that you're not reading either. Did you, like, just because you're working in this paper, did you not ever think to pick up the other newspapers or do a web search? The web has been pretty popular since 1998. I'm just saying. So, no? So... like, there's been a lot, I feel, with Parker. A whole lot, like, not just his silly relationships, and most of them have been silly, dating, angsty relationships, you know? But I felt like there has been a lot with him. Passing things up. Oh, I see. Okay, Superior Spider-Man for the win. Yeah, the Dude Abides. Dude, I love Superior Spider-Man. He's my absolute favorite incarnation. And Comic Boom. What's up, brother? Comic Boom has his own comic book website, his own YouTube page. Seriously, like... I don't get the time to go and check everybody else out, but I do take the time to look at Comic Boom once in a while. He's got a lot of cool stuff on there. So, by all means, check out Comic Boom also. Your explanation, he says, for Peter versus Doc Ock is spot on. I think, but only the first couple of battles. Doc Ock needs to get over it. Yeah, I agree. You know what's funny is I think that's the first time you've ever agreed with me. Usually it's like, I hear your opinion, I respect it's really cool. And here's where you're a complete idiot. And it's just, it's not exactly how our conversations go, but that's just my being really silly version of it comes from. But yeah, absolutely. You know, like, I appreciate that. My opinion has always been that Spider-Man's best nemesis, his best adversary, has always been Dr. Octopus. I just feel like, you know, that is the perfect battle. Like, I know the Green Goblin, yeah, those are also always pretty good. But when you're dealing with somebody like Dr. Octopus, I've always, like, those are the comic books that I've always looked at and just thought, this guy is the perfect Spider-Man villain on every level imaginable. Every single level. I don't know what to say. I don't even know what else to say about that. Let's see. Sean, the Eye of Agamotto Sedrai, says, I have a shirt that says No Lives Matter with Godzilla on it. There you go. Comic Boom, I love Beta Ray Bill. Because you're an intelligent individual, that's why. Super Magnumable. What's up, man? I haven't seen you in a while. Wow. Hey, to Cloak and Dagger Eps leak in Russian. Whoa. 2 episodes of Cloak and Dagger leaked in Russian? Dude, I will learn that language right now. I think I know like 3 words in Russian. Da. How do you say yes again? Oh, da is yes. Da, see? What an idiot. Da, niet, and glasnost. I think those are the only things I know in Russian. Oh, wait. Tavarich. Yes, because of Peter Rasputin. Tavarich, friend. So, yeah, I would watch them. I'm going to have to see if I can't find something like that. Believe it or not, from my understanding, that's not actually illegal in Canada. I hear people all the time talking about downloading episodes of Game of Thrones. Yeah, and they don't get in trouble for it up here, like at all. There's no punishment for it. I still have my very strong American beliefs of no, don't do that. That's wrong. But especially when I was in Saudi, dude, they would have they can't even call them black markets for DVDs. They would openly sell bootleg DVDs that they would burn off of the internet, put on a DVD, and then sell them openly in regular stores and everything like that. Like there was never any problem with that. They have no problems with that whatsoever. So I actually bought a couple when I first got over there because I'm like, how is it? Maybe it's over here earlier because there are no movie theaters allowed in Saudi Arabia. Like, is that the case? Yeah, believe it or not, there's no movie theaters over there. So anyway, yeah. Okay, I see below somebody saying a name that I was. Okay, hold on. No, I'm not. Okay, I'm like reading it. No, I don't want to read it yet. Sean Sindrai has something really good to say. Okay, Carrick 2001. What's up, man? There was one laugh out loud. It was Spider-Man Rain. Spider-Man Rain, was that the one where he was he gave Mary Jane cancer? Was that the one? I think it was. Good call. I think that was the one. Comic Boom. I would like to see RiRi teaming up with Peter Parker. I think it would drive each other crazy. I know that you don't like RiRi too much. I don't think you hate her. I don't actually know. I know that our conversations about RiRi Williams. Mind you guys, I love RiRi Williams. In fact, I'm going to show you guys something in case you've never seen it before. Here's my here's actually my it's for a Marvel superheroes game I was doing. Yeah, this is actually my desktop. I love RiRi Williams. I absolutely love her character. Just everything. I know a lot of people don't like RiRi Williams, and the thing that they always say is she has no flaws. Actually, she has so many flaws, it's ridiculous. The trick is that she's a 15-year-old, so she doesn't recognize any of her flaws as flaws. Sorry, I have a 15-year-old daughter. I have a 13-year-old daughter also. And with both of them, I often think, kids, girls, you just don't get it, do you? You know what I'm saying? Like, there's so many times, and they think that they know everything. And let's be realistic. I was a 15-year-old boy. You know what I'm saying? I know how stupid we could be also. The trick is most of us readers are males. So we'll remember-ish what we did when we were younger, but we also think, oh, girls don't get... I mean, like, if we're all reading comic books and we're like my age, we've all had that sense of, chicks don't like nice guys. Like, I believed it too, and I got girlfriends. You know what I'm saying? I'm the guy who wore the denim it was a denim jean jacket, you know, and I sewed in from Spencer's. I found the 4 patches for the Led Zeppelin symbols, and I sewed them on down the left arm. I never got the airbrush of Jimmy Page playing the double neck on the back that I always wanted in black and white. I never got that done, but one of these days I will actually get that done, because I just, like, that's what I always wanted to do when I was a kid. I never got the freaking airbrush on the back. But anyway, like, that was me. I walked around. That was me. I played guitar. Yeah, I had no problems picking up. I was always into the martial arts. I was actually, I was on track and field in school. I actually participated in sports. Like, yeah, I got girlfriends. I never had a problem with girlfriends. But at the same time, it was because I had in the back of my mind, girls don't like nice guys, so I'm going to be a jerk. That's what girls want. I grew up and realized that's not quite the case. It's always been that huge shift between being a jerk and being a nerd. Somewhere in between is having confidence. And ladies seem to gravitate more towards the jerk side, because that sounds like a lot more confidence, as opposed to the nerd, which, let's be realistic, I play Dungeons and Dragons a lot, and so many times I just read an article today where people are talking about how you're a girl and you like Dungeons and Dragons, or you're a girl and you like comic books, or you're a girl and you like, superheroes. You're just a fangirl. You're not real. It's like, dude, when are we going to realize to stop trying to put women in their place? You know what I'm saying? Like, that, if you ever get to that level, and I'm not insulting, I'm not trying to point out anybody, I don't know anybody here who does that, but, like, if somebody feels that way, when they get to the point where they stop trying to do things like that, maybe they'll actually start getting more dates. Who knows? In the meantime, oh my God, this is going crazy. Okay. Yeah, they actually, Comic Boom, they almost did team up. They kind of did-ish in Chip Zdarsky's Peter Parker, the Spectacular Spider-Man. She shot him out of her door, which I thought was really out of character. Really out of character, but whatever. Whatever. Everybody wants her to be a bad guy anyway. So, Sean says, I heard Spider-Man will fight some Fantastic Four villains in Spectacular Spider-Man. Yes, good call. Because that, I believe, in fact, you and I actually talked about this briefly on Twitter. What do you call it? Johnny Storm is going to be ticked off that in Uncanny Avengers, Johnny Storm has the issue where the lawyer comes up and says, hey, all of Reed Richards' patents have come to you, and I've been fighting those patents for the past several years now, and you've got like $5 million coming to you, or maybe it's billion. I forget what the number was, but it's a lot of money. Here you go. You're officially rich now. Ben Grimm doesn't get it, because even though he's part of the first family, he's not part of the actual family. He's related. He's the brother-in-law of Reed Richards, so he gets all of that money. In the meantime, plus he kind of needs it because he's just so flippant. Anyway, he was also the boy toy of a queen. Anyway, yeah, so there's that. But over in Peter Parker Spectacular by Zdarsky, and I'm apparently going to meet Chip Zdarsky next week in Mississauga Comic-Con. This is the 3rd annual, actually it's called the Comics Expo. You can check it out on Facebook. I'm going to actually try and be there. So if there's anybody in the GTA area, Toronto or GTA area, dude, swing by. You'll see me. You can't miss me. I'm 6'5" and I look like this. Best description I can give you. Yes, I walk around with the bandana and everything. Anyway, so I do know that Peter losing the Baxter Building will be addressed in the Spectacular Spider-Man comic. So that only makes sense then that he's going to be fighting some Fantastic Four villains there. That's awesome because I do miss a lot of them. Sean also says that Charlie Cooper will return, said Dan Slott at New York Comic Con. That, I'm going to be impressed to see how they pull that off, because she's someone who's actually stayed dead, right? So, okay, interesting. And that's the Charlie I was talking about a little bit earlier with the Spider-Man Wolverine comic, which I have it. I just got it recently at the Toronto Fan Expo, which I missed seeing some YouTube personalities there that I really wouldn't have minded meeting. But you know what? Honestly, I'd rather build up my numbers a lot more and then meet them on more equal terms. That's what I'd rather anyway. Anyway, that being said, Isaiah Quinn, he says, hello, everybody. And I say, what's up, brother? So, you popped out last night on the the review that I was doing for episode 4 of Inhumans. So tell me how you liked it. Timmy C. Now you got me wanting to read Len Wein, writer of Amazing Spider-Man 151 to 180. I can't say he progressed Peter Parker in any way, but those issues sure were action-packed. Yeah, they really were, right? And damn, yeah. I actually just reviewed. Wait, did I? No, that was okay, that was issue 350 and 351. Never mind. But yeah. I actually forgot that Len Wein did write for him. Dude, there's some amazing stories out there of Len that are coming out now that I didn't even hear about. You know what? Maybe by the end of the podcast, if somebody reminds me, I will relate to you one that Walter Simonson actually related on his Facebook page. It's actually a really cool one. It's a really cool one. Okay, Isaiah. This will be my last time on the internet for a while. What? I'm going to be gone Wednesday until December 18 for work. What are you doing for work, dude? Like, are you going underground? Sean Sadrai, which Inhuman Royal do you think should get a solo series? I think Medusa should be next, or Lockjaw. Lockjaw has, sorry, that's Sean Sadrai. Lockjaw has his own kind of solo in the back of the Inhumans Once and Future Kings comic book, even though it's only 5 issues. Lockjaw is a whole lot of fun. I do love him. But yeah, I agree. I wouldn't mind seeing some Medusa, but at the same time, if somebody could do a job similar, not the same, but similar to what Warren Ellis did with Karnak, Karnak is just the hands down best. Like, my opinion, Karnak is just so damn good. So good. I wouldn't mind seeing some more of Karnak, but I do think it should be limited issues, a limited run. Pyrrhic 2001. I don't mind RiRi. She's okay in my opinion. I like Doom as the new Iron Person more, but RiRi isn't that bad still. Don't know how I feel about Tony's coming back. Apparently, according to Bendis, this is supposed to be one of the biggest arcs that Tony's ever had. And literally, the only arcs I can ever think of Tony ever having that were just him, not like a Civil War or a big, storyline event, would have to be the Armor Wars, and not the second one, because the second one sucked. But the first Armor Wars, while it didn't end on the greatest note, it was really involved. It did cross over Captain America as the Captain. Just another time where a new hero took over, that was John Walker, took over the role of another legacy character. It's like... and people still like John Walker, and they want to see U.S. Agent return, so I don't know. But no, I love RiRi Williams. I really do. In fact, every single thing that I see people blaming RiRi for is actually something that she never did, is something that Doom did as Iron Man. That's the way I see it. But what do you call it? Isaiah Quinn, Comic Book University. Where did you get that wallpaper? I've been trying to find it. Just on the internet. I don't know where actually. In fact, you know what? Back around issue 3 or 4, I was looking for pictures of RiRi because I was planning on doing an Explained in a Minute, and I saw all the hate for RiRi, so I held back from doing an Explained in a Minute about her. And then by the time that I thought I should probably do it again, a whole lot of movies were getting ready to come out, and I felt like I'm really behind on putting out the Explained in a Minute for those movies. And the movies do get a lot more attention than the comic books themselves, so I feel like I'm going to get a much bigger audience doing characters who are going to be in the latest movies. Like, you look at the hits that I got for Cloak and Dagger is actually the Cloak and Dagger Explained in a Minute is my biggest video yet on YouTube. There is no video that comes even close to the numbers that I get for people looking at Cloak and Dagger, which fills my heart with joy. Also kind of bugs me a little bit because that was the last time I used the old format and not the new program, the new mic, and everything. Yeah, that kind of hurts a little bit because I really wish it would have been the better format that I'm using now. From Iron Fist on, I started using the new format. But anyway, so because I specifically remember doing Iron Fist after I did Cloak and Dagger. But and then after that, you look at my Guardians of the Galaxy videos. Those are the Explained in a Minute that people like really went and started hitting on. That and the Adam Warlock ones, because at the time we always thought that Adam Warlock was going to be in Guardians of the Galaxy. His Cocoon was, and that was a nice surprise. Spoilers if you haven't seen this movie that came out last year. Anyway, Yeah, so that's why we try to do this. So I don't know where. I know I did a Google image search for RiRi Williams, and I found that, and I just blew it up. It wasn't actually as a wallpaper, and that's why it's a little tiny bit out of focus for my giant screen. But yeah, that's just what I used. Anyway, let's see. The dude abides. I'm still not over Triton. What, dying in the issue? I don't think he actually died in the comic. I'm sure he's just down there healing or something. Like, they'll probably say he's got a healing factor or some kind of regeneration because he's fish related. Anyway, yeah, Triton. That's the thing. I like Triton, but they've always just used Triton as a. Here's something. If somebody ever said to me, Professor Bill, hi, I'm Dan Bravut from. I'm probably saying his name wrong. From it's probably the first time I ever said his name out loud from Marvel, or I go and I try and get an interview with like Joe Quesada or somebody like that, Axel Alonso, and like, oh yeah, you know what? I actually seen one of your videos once. I really like your take on things and whatnot. Hey, listen, would you want to write for a Marvel character? It can't be one of the big ones. I'm not going to let you write for Captain America. I know that's your favorite character. I'd probably screw him up. You know what I'm saying? But like, I'm not going to let you write for him. I'm not going to let you write Spider-Man. But if you want to take a lesser character, who would you like to write for? Triton would be a good one that I would like to say. Because who the hell knows anything about Triton? You know what I'm saying? Like, who knows anything about Triton? And if you actually had a good solo story, a 5-issue, 6-issue miniseries with Triton, that would be awesome. So, like, I feel like that would really get my name out. Give me the street cred for writing a comic book that would just be like, boom, off the charts. So, yeah, that's actually a really good... Who said that? The dude abides. Dude, that would be a really good one. So, yeah, a Triton miniseries, if it was done right. Of course, it's always if it was done right, but I feel the need to say it with Triton. Then, yeah, absolutely. That would be freaking perfect. Damn. Good one. Sean Sadrai, he says, can you believe Gert's death in Runaways was only 2 years, meaning that all those events between 2007 and 2017? Yeah, I know, right? Well, that's at the same time, that's also the Marvel sliding time scale. So, yes, it was condensed. Honestly, how much longer do you think that we can keep on saying that the Punisher was a Vietnam vet? In fact, like, they've already said that the Thing wasn't a fighter pilot in World War II now. They say, oh no, he was a fighter pilot in Desert Storm. So they're going to be moving him up pretty soon. Maybe they'll wind up saying that he got his chops in the Gulf. Maybe they'll also add in, I think it would be a good idea to add in Serbia also, because that was actually a big deal. That was a horrific deal where you would have seen... Literally, like the only other time in history that I know of where there were concentration camps, rape camps, murder camps, and torture camps, where they weren't even trying to produce anything necessarily. It was just to hurt people, was in Serbia, like what they did to the Bosnians. That would be a really good one to get Frank, like, he went a little crazy and they're seeing what evil human beings can do, So that would be a good one, but I hope there's somebody actually... that people say the Korea is the forgotten war. I agree. But this was probably even more forgotten. What do we got here? Isaiah Quinn. Also, I feel like I'm one of the few people who was not fond of the Peter-Mary Jane marriage. I was always more for Gwen. No, I'm going to agree with you. In fact, Stan Lee totally agrees with you. So you can't say that you're a minority when Stan Lee is on your side. Sorry, you don't get that. You don't get the whole oppressed, I don't like Mary Jane marriage thing. To be honest, I thought that the marriage was okay. Again, I'm going to repeat myself. I'm more of the person who will take a comic in. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would much rather someone tell me a story as opposed to me telling them how I want them to tell me the story. Like, one of the only exceptions that I can honestly say would be Carol Danvers, which I'm more like, okay, maybe I don't have too much on the line of suggestions, because somebody asked me, well, how would you write it? I don't know that I would. I don't think that I'm qualified to write Carol Danvers. And I really wish that Margaret Stoll would agree to the exact same thing, that she is not qualified to be writing Carol Danvers. Because I don't think that she is. I don't think that she's good enough. And that, look, maybe she could write a perfect, some other character story. Who knows? But I don't think that she really gets Carol Danvers at all. At all. I'm not going to complain about the art. I just, whatever. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? I don't find it to be ridiculous. I don't care about the way that they're drawing her. You know what I'm saying? But I do think that Margaret doesn't really get the character like she's always been written before, and I don't think that she's changing the character in a positive way. I don't think she knows how to write dialogue very well. Maybe in her young adult novels she does. Maybe she's praised for that. I don't know. But I do know that in this book, I'm judging only by this title that she's writing. I really wish that she would just get it, that she's not doing a good job, and either change things up drastically or just ask to move to a different title. Honestly, I'm not trying to run her out of comic books. I don't want to run anybody out of anything. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I think that she really needs to get it. Let's see. Sean Sedrai, David Bound will be in 594 Invincible Iron Man. Okay, you're going to have to educate me on David Bound. I don't know who that is. Have you ever heard somebody, a YouTube personality on YouTube actually saying, I don't know who that is? Yeah, I have no problem admitting when I don't know something. I don't have that level of narcissism. I don't feel that it improves my brand by saying that I know everything. So, Comic Boom, sorry if you answered this already. What do you think of, quality of Marvel's lenticular covers so far? Alternatively, did you manage to get some or all of them? I own 4 lenticular covers, and they are The Flash and Batman, issues number 20 and 21 of each title, and that is, as everyone knows, the Button crossover event. I do not own, and the first 3 of those are signed by Jason Fabok, who is the guy who made those covers, he's the artist behind those covers. I met him a week and a half before the Flash issue number 21 came out. So the Jay Garrett cover, I didn't get that signed, unfortunately. And I did see him in freaking Fan Expo Canada, but I totally forgot to bring the comic with me. I got to meet Brian Stelfleeze also, who is one of my all-time favorite artists. Like, I got to meet him, and you have no idea how much self-control it took to not jump across the table and hug him. And no, I'm not being that serious, but in my mind a little bit, I squeed. Like, he's such a great guy, such a great conversationalist, you know what I'm saying? Like, I kept my conversation down to a minimum and just asked him questions, but he was so cool. Again, he actually did a video for me. I said, can you do a video for me where you say, like, you know, hey, I'm Brian Stelfleeze, and you are watching Comic Book University, and he did it for me. And I'm such an idiot that I didn't realize that when I pushed record for my my iPhone that it didn't start recording yet. So I literally got him going, and then he put down the thing, and then I'm going, dude, you're the best. Thank you so much. That's all I got. Like, I'm such an idiot. This guy did that for me, and I didn't bother to check to see if it actually ran. So just, yeah. Duh. But, like, coolest guy in the world. Coolest guy you ever want to meet. And yeah, I didn't bring one of my 2 issues of issue number 1 of Black Panther to get him to sign it. I just, Anyway, yeah, no, I don't think I did answer that. And whatever, I don't mind. I don't mind answering things. You don't have to apologize. What are you, Canadian? Because I'm in Canada. Anyway, so, what do you call the Canadian people are probably pissed off right now. What? How dare you? What's this about? And now they're even more pissed at me. No, I don't collect any of the Marvel covers. I'm actually a little bit upset at Marvel, and by a little bit, I'm being generous. I see a repeat of the 90s happening, where Marvel is taking all of these freaking bad ideas that they had back in the day. The like 8 to 10 or more variant covers. I'm like, alternate covers. What's the synonym for alternate covers that's used in the industry? The variant covers, all the variant covers. Dude, stop with that. And then DC does these lenticular covers. Ooh, they sell well. So Marvel's like, we'll make them too. No, you shouldn't. You shouldn't. You don't make them for generations. You don't make them for all these other things you do. Don't do that. Please don't do that. Stop, because you're just making people like me pissed off with comic books again. And I stopped collecting in the 90s. Am I going to stop now? No, but I may stop collecting Marvel comics if they keep doing that. There's plenty of problems with Marvel that I might just say, you know what? I'm going to really limit my Marvel comics ingestion to half because I'm really bothered by this. I'm really getting into a lot of the indie comics right now. I read a bunch of indie comics this week that I have to go over for Tuesday. No, for Monday. Monday's when I put out my indie comics, or my non-Big Two comics. So whatever, man. And I'm more than happy being that guy who's just doing mostly indie comics for the most part. But DC's not really ticking me off, so I'll still do DC also. Maybe I'll do DC Tuesdays, or DC Mondays, and indie for the rest of the channel. Who knows? Anyway, so yeah, that's my feeling on the lenticular covers. They really need to take a step back. Sean Sadrai, Triton out of all the Royals has the least development out of all the... Yeah, you're absolutely right. Out of all the Inhumans, he has the least amount of development. Like, it's every single Triton, every single story where Triton's in it, you know exactly how it's gone. And it's exactly what happened in the freaking TV show. Triton is the first character you see. He winds up getting in some kind of trouble, and everybody else has to come and rescue him. Really? Is that his only superpower? He breathes water, and he gets captured. Comic Boom. We agree on Mark or Stoll, too. There you go. Sean Sadrai. Is Juggernaut the Doomsday of Marvel? Yeah. Yeah, he kind of is right now. And, Sean, I don't know how you would feel about this, but I know that we've had these conversations before where Juggernaut has been punked out a lot lately. And guys, this is supposed to be about Spider-Man, but remember the Spider-Man comics where Juggernaut appeared in those 2 issues where he was trying to protect Madam Web from Juggernaut, and he stopped him with quick dry cement. That to me was the first time that Juggernaut was ever just absolutely punked out, where it's like, quick dry cement is not going to stop the Juggernaut. That doesn't make any kind of sense. It doesn't make sense. No, he doesn't have the momentum to go, but even just as a fan of the Marvel Superheroes Face Rip game, the role-playing game, Juggernaut's strength is Unearthly 100 or more. And concrete, even quick dry, even like reinforced, even if it was steel reinforced concrete, Incredible 40 would be the highest. So he's still more, in excess of twice as strong as concrete. So he could still, boom, and just completely break out, and then let momentum go into place. Like there's no reason for him to have ever gotten trapped in the quick dry cement. Sure, he could sink in it, but once he stopped moving, once it solidified and it's quick dry, he would have gotten out and then killed Spider-Man. I don't know. That was a really good way of propping Spider-Man up big time, but dropping the value of Juggernaut big time. I really feel like, in some ways, Sabretooth is kind of that also. It's really hard for me to get behind Sabretooth as this totally awesome, Wolverine villain when push comes to shove. Sabretooth gets punked by everybody except Logan. And that's like, maybe you should just find a different, maybe just use Omega Red as that villain who you're looking to do that with, because Sabretooth just gets beaten up by everybody. Everybody. And I can't get behind Sabretooth as a actual threat, because so it's likewise hard for me to get behind. Like, if you guys go and check out, did I put up my review for Uncanny Avengers? I can't remember if I put up my review for Uncanny Avengers, but if I did, that last page reveal is freaking awesome. If you didn't, please no spoilers. Whatever, Juggernaut's in it. So, like we're talking about it, duh. So anyways, Juggernaut appears on the very last page. He cameos on the very last page. And I flipped the page and I looked at because it looks vicious. Absolutely brutal. Guys, it's still this week. Like, go and pick up that issue. Because or even if you're not going to pick it up, just go and look at the issue in your local comic book store. Because, wow, it looks vicious. I had to step back. But then, thinking about it again, I like to think thoughts all the way through. I thought, they're just going to punk him out. He's been in almost every single X-Men comic book so far. He's just been all across the board. Iceman punked him out twice, once in his the Namesake comic, and once in the in his solo title. And young Iceman punked him out in the first issue of X-Men Blue. And like a couple other issues he's been in of different comics, and he just got punked out there also. And it's like, dude, why do you even have the, like, he's supposed to be stronger now than he's ever been before, and he's absolutely punked out. Likewise, if you go and you take a look at the latest Detective Comics issue, where like Doomsday is fighting against young and old Tim Drake. Yeah, DC's doing that too now. You will see that he gets completely punked out in that. So, like, they're like, it's Doomsday. Oh, I'll throw some flash pellets at him. And then, okay, while we're running, let's have a conversation. We're not running for our lives as fast as inhumanly possible, faster than we've ever run in our lives, because here's this giant beast with muscles galore who can run way faster than us. No, we'll run at a pace where we can still talk. They don't have the ... in between in between sentences where it's like, that's where they're taking a breath. You know what I'm saying? No, they're just casually running and talking to each other. Hey, so what are you doing this weekend? I don't know. What are you doing this weekend? I was thinking about going out with Spoiler. What do you think? Like, dude, are you kidding me? And then they wind up beating him up. With 3 little interactions, they wind up, taking care of him. Go and check out the review or pick up the comic or both. I was really disappointed in there. And I'm just like, you know what? When 2 versions of Tim Drake can completely punk out Doomsday, I don't want to see Doomsday, because seriously, if you suddenly have him show up and beat down the Flash, that doesn't raise the value of Doomsday at this point. No, what that does is that lowers the value of the Flash. It's like, wow, Flash, I thought you were cool. You couldn't beat up the guy that Tim Drake were able to completely waste? Come on, man. Like Superman, them telling Superman in the Superman Doom arc. That was like just so terrible. They built it up like, oh my God, Doomsday's coming. And the Doomsday that killed you in a different reality was actually just a baby Doomsday that was like a pupa. This is a fully grown adult Doomsday. It's the most dangerous that you've ever faced. And how does he actually beat him? He flies in, rips him in half, absorbs him into himself, and becomes Super Doom. You're like, what in the hell did I just read? What did I just read? And Ken Lashley drew the art for that. It was great art. But the story, dude, like, are you kidding me? So we're done then. Doomsday is no longer a threat. Doomsday was able to beat up Wonder Woman. Guess what? That makes Wonder Woman a punk. That doesn't make Doomsday strong. When he just appeared on the boat and took her out really quick, that doesn't make Doomsday strong. He must have gotten a lucky shot, and Wonder Woman is just an absolute punk. That's the way I looked at it. Especially after Superman just flies in, rip. Yeah. So that's how I feel about Juggernaut at this point. He's showing up, and he's going to fight the Uncanny Avengers, and they're going to wipe the floor with him. And who cares? He's going to be forgotten about. Psh, whatevs, man. So yeah. Yes, I think in a very ridiculous way, Sean, Juggernaut is the Doomsday of Marvel. Maybe it's not the way you expected to hear it. Sean also says he was hijacked from Bendis' run of X-Men. Happens. I don't think he was doing anything special with them. Isaiah Quinn. Have you read the She-Hulk book? Yes. If so, what do you think of it? I read the first arc. That means the first 6 issues. And I was not pleased. The first couple of issues, I realized right away they were going to deal with PTSD. And me as a former soldier, and I, thank God, I don't have the mentality that I ever had to be affected by PTSD. Not with anything that happened in my life, including the military. But being in the military, I have known plenty of people who do have PTSD. Some in a crippling way. Some just, I have nightmares. You know what I'm saying? But some, it's actually crippling. And they have to, take medications. And I hear the stories about, it's ridiculous. They've got to find something else because this just isn't working. You know what I'm saying? It was actually because of hearing about PTSD that I switched from my extreme conservative mentality of just say no, all drugs are bad, including marijuana, it's a gateway drug, all these things. When I was in 6th grade, the end of 5th grade and all of 6th grade, I was a crossing guard, and that was for my school, and I was a dork. I have a comic book channel. What'd you expect? And I had, but I was the cutest one ever. Anyways, on with the freaking story. But I was also in the Just Say No Club. Nancy Reagan at the time was asked, "What do you think about all these kids who are, being approached peer pressure about drugs and cigarettes and things like that?" And Nancy Reagan said, very simply, just say no. That was strong enough of a thing to say that it became a huge thing. Just say no. That came from Nancy Reagan. I was into that, and I remember having conversations with literal potheads and Quaalude heads. I don't know how I feel about Quaaludes, you know what I'm saying? I don't know enough about them, but like I actually worked with a girl who identified herself as a pothead and pillhead. You know, she liked Quaaludes and LSD and things like that. It was at a record store, whatever. I don't want to get into any more detail with that. What do you call it? But she, she was all into it. And I remember just saying, like, you know, I think that if you smoke weed, you are, and this was in 2008, 2009. This was in 2009, not that long ago. I was very conservative on my stance on drugs. But enough talk with these military veterans and them, and more and more started saying, you know, I started actually using marijuana. Some of them smoke it. Some of them will take, they said, 3 drops of a liquid form and put it under their tongue and so on and so forth. And I was like, and that actually helps? Yeah. Yeah, but like, is your life falling apart? No, I'm functional now. And like all of us, we've had to take, dude, I can't tell you how many surprise piss tests we've had to take. You know what I'm saying? And most of the time, that was just, like, if they catch you on this, that, or some other substance, whatever, but most of the time, it was trying to catch you on marijuana. I knew a guy who I actually liked a lot. We used to have a lot of philosophical conversations with each other, and I guess it makes sense that he was liked to smoke marijuana, but I didn't realize, I don't try to think about people's personal lives like that. So he got kicked out of the military for being on marijuana. Like, he failed a piss test. It was a surprise piss test. And it was like, holy crap, dude, I think so much less of him now. And now I feel bad that I ever had those thoughts because, like, I don't smoke it. I have no interest in checking it out. But at the same time, like, I hear all these great things about marijuana nowadays, which is like, and just me saying this on this podcast, congratulations, I'm not going to be monetized for this, whatever. It's YouTube. We're real partners, right? We're real YouTube partners. No, we're not. Not if I don't have any say in whether I get paid or not for the things I do. But whatever. Like, the idea is that radically made me change my mind on things like that. So, it's, you know, like, Isaiah's original question was about PTSD. But that's literally like that's a big topic for me because I know so many people who were affected by this. And I easily could have been affected, you know what I'm saying, by something like this. I very easily could have been affected by PTSD. The studies now show that it's actually, some people are more prone to PTSD than others. It's not necessarily the traumatic event itself. Some people will handle a traumatic event better than someone else. It's not a toughness thing. It's not something you can control. It's the way we were born. It's our chemical balance and imbalances. You know, that's all it is. But whatever. Like, so I really had high hopes for that Hulk comic with She-Hulk in it. And it just disappointed me. It just so painfully disappointed me. Around the 4th issue, I finally couldn't hold it in anymore, how much it was bothering me. And the 6th issue was just such a disappointment. Go back and check out those reviews. I only reviewed the first 6 issues. Even when she had her crossover with Daredevil in the Daredevil comic, they mentioned something that's going on in her life. I had no interest in even going and looking because the guy at my comic book store, the main one that I go to several. There are 5 around me. I visit 4 of them frequently. But no, I didn't even buy any. I didn't even want to go over and take a flip through it because he wouldn't have even minded if I did that. Like, I just had no interest in it. Sorry. Kirik 2001. I'm curious, what do you think of the Peter Parker Spider-Man Spectacular Spider-Man 2017 series by Chip Zdarsky? I was talking about it earlier. I through reference indicated that I actually like it. I thought it was really funny. You can go and check out my reviews for them. I think there's only the first 4 issues have dropped so far. So they're pretty brief to go through, but I mentioned in there the things that I do like, you know, and I think by the 4th issue I mentioned something that I didn't like, but regardless, yeah, I'm a big fan of it. I'm actually, I'm actually about to meet Chip Zdarsky not tomorrow, not this weekend, but next weekend in the Mississauga Comics Expo. I'm really excited to go and meet him. You know, try and shake his hand, get an autograph. I've got his first issue and just all that good stuff. Kendrick also says, and do you think it's better than Amazing Spider-Man by Dan Slott? I like Amazing more. I actually like Dan Slott's stuff. I agree with you. I do like Amazing more, but for different reasons than why I like Amazing. Amazing is more bringing him back to he's a clown. He's funny. You know what I'm saying? I actually laugh at his jokes. Usually I don't laugh at the jokes that I see in Amazing Spider-Man. I don't feel like Dan Slott is, currently at least, very good at writing a funny Peter Parker. He has his moments. He has a couple of quips. He has a couple of funny quips here and there, but for the most part, it's just, you know, I like it for very different reasons. So, yeah, I like them both, but I know Separate But Equal maybe still has a sting today, but I don't mean it in that way. I mean it in this way. I like them both equally, but in different regards. But yeah, if I had to drop one, I would probably drop Zdarsky's. I would probably prefer Slott's. That's just me. The Dude Abides. Valiant comics are great. Exo Manowar would own Iron Man. I'd be happy if anybody owned Iron Man. And I admittedly never got into Shadow Man before, but I just read this latest issue of Shadow Man, and I really dig it. I really like it. And I think I'm going to go back and start reading up on some Shadow Man, because that's some really good stuff. The Dude Abides. Juggernaut is a band for sure. Wow, that's a good reference. Juggernaut, nickname Pickles. Pickles 2. Pickles Square, take that. So, Isaiah Quinn, I like 90s Sabretooth. He was really cool, and you did not mess with 90s Sabretooth. Yeah. But Wolverine did cut off his head at one time. Yeah, with the Maramosa blade, cut off his arm and then cut off his head. Yeah. No, he was cool in the X-Men comic books. He was cool in the Wolverine comic books. Like, nobody can deny that when, like, Wolverine, the second series, issue number 10, do you remember that cover? Sabretooth is on top of Wolverine. They're in the snow, and he's got that piece of wood hanging up like that, and he's about to, like, stake him. And it's like, you know, holy crap. And it gave a lot of inference to the origin story, which we didn't know for Wolverine. And I think that was the first time we ever heard of Red Fox. Was that a Silver Fox? I think it's the first time we ever heard of Silver Fox. It's just so much. It was like, oh, like, it was amazing. And then if you ever went back and you read the classic X-Men comic books, and by that I mean X-Men Classic. That was the title, where they just retold the original giant-size X-Men and X-Men issue number 94 and on, the new team of X-Men, the all-new, all-different X-Men. Once they started doing that, they also had a side story at the end, an extra, like a news story they were put in the end. There were a couple of really good ones in there. One of them was Happy Birthday Logan, or Happy Birthday Bub, whatever it was. I think it was just called Happy Birthday. And that was the one where you saw that every single year on Wolverine's birthday, Sabretooth tracks Wolverine down, no matter where he is, and rips at his throat. Just as a reminder that I could take you anytime I want, bub. Oh my God, that was freaking amazing! And every time that I would see Sabretooth on the cover of somebody else's comic book, I'd be like, nope, don't read it. Don't buy it. I learned my lesson. Because they're just going to completely punk him out, and it's going to be embarrassing, and it's going to bring down my idea of worth, my idea of Sabretooth's worth. So, yeah, that was even in the 90s. Even when Sabretooth had that, I think he only had one issue of his own solo series. So it was like a one-shot. Maybe there were more. I don't remember. I only remember actually reading the first one. No. There were actually 2 4-issue miniseries. Yeah. One of them, he was actually really rich and an assassin. He was basically like Deadpool with claws. It was okay. It was just very different. But yeah, at the same time, like you said, you don't mess with him. So, crap, I'm starting to lose my voice again. I never recovered. I always take a long time to recover from being sick. Who would win, Doomsday or Juggernaut? Who cares? That's Johnson Dry. That's the way I feel about it. Oh, and I missed Comic Boom. So, true about Detective Comics, the Tim Drakes. Yes, it is true. Sorry. You actually, yeah, you would have read those. Yeah, so he's not saying, so it's true about, no, he's actually saying, so true. Yes, yeah, I feel the same way, dude. But Sean says, who would win between Doomsday or Juggernaut? Honestly, I don't know. Like, how do you hurt Juggernaut? Like, when you think about it, if you ever played the classic Marvel Superheroes role-playing game, the Face Rip game, he's got a Class 3000 force field that he can put around himself, plus unearthly body armor, plus unearthly regeneration. Sorry, how do you hurt him? How do you hurt him? Remember that time that Shatterstar, I think that was issue number 3 or 4 of the new X-Force comic, when it first came out, the first volume. He actually took his double blades and put them into, like, nobody else could get through his force field, but he had an anti-magic shield, what do you call it, ability on his swords, and stabbed Juggernaut in the eyes. And he's like, wait for it, wait for it. Ah! And, like, that was a scary scene. And it was like, dude, that's badass. He's got a healing factor, too. Not cool. Not cool. That was scary, freaky, you know? So, like, how do you really hurt Juggernaut, you know? How does Juggernaut hurt? So they'd literally just be two guys punching at each other. And neither of them are going to get tired. So I don't know. I don't know. The loser, whatever planet they're fighting on. The dude abides. Depends on which incarnation of Juggernaut and Doomsday. That's also a good point, too. And who's writing them. That's always the most important thing. Sean Sindry, did you hear Tom King will do Swamp Thing special? I did hear about that. Thank you for reminding me. I'm very excited to be doing that. Swamp Thing, he seems like a Halloween special kind of explained in a minute character, doesn't he? Hint, hint. I'm currently writing up the, actually just finished writing it. I'm probably going to, if my voice holds up, maybe tonight I'll record it. Man Thing, explained in a minute. Because Man Thing did technically come out 1 month before Swamp Thing. Even though, yes, Swamp Thing is a better written character. Whether Alan Moore was on it or not, Alan Moore just brought it up to another level, which is like, ugh. So, yeah. Zix Nano. What's going on, man? I don't remember ever seeing you before, but welcome. Hello. I want to know your thoughts on Bat Metal. I don't know if that's actually how you talk, but I saw the hello, and that's okay. I'm not going to make fun of anybody. So far, the whole Dr. Fate undertones. Also, Doomsday Clock is close. I'm hoping, beyond hope, that everything that's happening in the DC universe is connected right now. Because if the Doomsday Clock and Metal is somehow connected, plus the Mr. Miracle comic, which has the new version of the Darkseid War, it seems to be out of time frame because we do still see a very young Darkseid in the Wonder Woman comics, which I just picked up recently. I just reviewed my second ongoing issue of Wonder Woman. I think that's because of Sean. Damn it, man. But no, it's good stuff. It is good stuff. And the art is out of this world. But yeah, I really hope that all of this stuff gets tied in together because it's amazing if it is. If they can just tie in the Metal and the Doomsday Clock stuff. Wow. Which I think they will. But making it look like it's two separate events is a little bit scary. If they actually do combine them both, wow, I'm all in. I'm all in. What do you call it? Carrick 2001. I like both Spectacular and Amazing Spider-Mans. Also, the art on Spectacular I don't like that much, but it doesn't bother me. Also, are you excited about Venom and Spider-Man crossover? I think I did hear about that. I think you probably know more about it than I do. Not really, because I tried so many times to pick up on the Venom comic. I didn't even want to pick up on the Venomverse comic because I haven't been happy with the way that Venom has been written lately. It's just so boring. Even though it's Eddie Brock back again, I actually liked the idea of Lee, the Ranger, in the symbiote. I'm sad they didn't explore that more. I'm also sad that they failed in the execution of that. That's one of the things that I feel I would have written better. And guys, again, I've got almost nothing to show that I could write it better. But this is literally just me talking out the back of my head. But the back of my head is saying I feel that I could have written something really good in that regard. A former Ranger getting his hands on the Venom symbiote. Oh yeah, I think I could have written the hell out of that. But and Sean Sedrai just down below says Agent Anti-Venom. Yes, Agent Anti-Venom. Oh, so is actually going to be Flash coming back? That's awesome because I know Flash is back. They're actually bringing him back. They've been talking about him. What comic was he in recently where they were discussing it, where he was actually back and talking about, oh, I'm sorry I missed this and that because I was in space and things like that. I forget which one it was, but it was just a comic that dropped this week. Anyway, yeah, I really do miss Flash Thompson being Agent Venom. I miss the hell out of that. And if it means having an Agent Anti-Venom, okay. Okay, I'm down. I'm totally down. So, what do we got here? Obviously, Zix. Obviously, Doomsday adapts to anything. Yeah, but at the same time, like, how do you adapt to a punch in the face? That's something that I've always said. How do you adapt to a punch in the face? What do you call it? So, Sean already got that. Zix, Nano. Any thoughts on the state of Marvel at the moment while Social Justice Warrior fiasco? Yeah, my opinion on that is it's twofold. I'm more in the middle, but I do have more of a side. I'm closer to the Social Justice Warrior side of it. I don't like that some people are marginalized. I don't like that. I don't like the idea of maintaining a status quo. I don't think that's progressive at all. I do think that it's insulting to call, it's clearly meant to be insulting to call someone a social justice warrior. It's like, oh, look at you sticking up for other people. Yeah, look at you being a bully. So, because like literally, when you call someone a social justice warrior, that's exactly what you're doing. At the same time, I have a huge problem with people who are happy to identify themselves as a full social justice warrior when they actually understand what it means. Because social justice warrior, my view of it is someone who literally just stands there on the internet and stands on a soapbox. Not just a soapbox. It's one thing to stand on a soapbox. That's the old Trafalgar Square idea from Britain. You go to Trafalgar Square, and if you have a soap box, a box where they would carry soap in, they were always wood, and you could stand on top of them, and you can make yourself known, and anything, even if you say F the Queen, you will not be held responsible for it, because in Trafalgar Square, that's where you're allowed to air all of your grievances. That's where you can make a new Magna Carta if you want to. That's where you can do all the things that you want. Cool. I don't like the idea of regulating free speech, but at the same time, it's hard to argue that there's a huge platform here, and you know that this is what you're going to deal with. So there's that. Regulating free speech, that's called fascism. Like I don't care how you look at it. But at the same time, if you are a self-professed social justice warrior, you are someone who doesn't stand on a soapbox. You're someone who stands on a pedestal and looks down on everybody else and says, I am great because I'm standing on this particular platform. And if you're against me, you're clearly evil. You're demoral and you're immoral, not demoral. You're immoral, wrong prefix. And you're a horrible person and you don't even get a real say. No. This is a different version of stifling free speech. This is also wrong. So, yeah, I do like the idea of, let's just say I do hate the idea of oppressing people, anybody. I don't know that it's okay to punch a Nazi. But yeah, I would probably punch a Nazi damn square in the damn jaw and say, "Long live Jack Kirby." You know what I'm saying? Like I would have no problem with that whatsoever. Somebody like a Richard Spencer. I know this is kind of turning a little bit political. I'm going to end this really quick. I'm not happy that dude punched him that one time. At the same time, I don't feel the slightest bit remorse for somebody who clearly deserved to get punched in the face. You know what I'm saying? Deserving it and actually having it happening are two totally different stories. So I kind of feel like screw both of those people. You know what I'm saying? I'm done. I'm done with that. That's literally that's exactly where I stand on the subject. So moving on from that, because that's not the platform that I want for this channel particularly. Isaiah Quinn, Doomsday Clock, supposed to take place a year later. Everything in DC Rebirth. Okay, that is interesting. Crap. Then they should do it a year later. Like, you feel what I'm saying? If you're going to have it take place a year later, then do it a year from now. You know what I'm saying? Like that to me is the better mentality for it. Continuing, Isaiah says that's what Jeff Johns said in an interview. Also, Doomsday Clock number 5 has the Joker on it. Oh, how many Jokers? I didn't actually see that preview. Huh. Sean Sadrai, Amazing Spider-Man 789. What's that going to be? I lost you in the conversation, dude. I'm sorry. Zick Zeno, I feel the same can be said about White Knights. Somebody actually just called me a White Knight recently. You can go and check it out in the Marvel.com on YouTube, the Marvel page on YouTube. Somebody did a cosplay of RiRi Williams, and I said, okay, here come all the bad guys. Let me just simply say you are beautiful, the cosplay is amazing, and I think you really got it down. Awesome. That being said, ignore all the people who are going to start hating on you because they hate RiRi. That's it. That's all I said. Somebody gets in there and says, because, you know, as a black man, first off, who the hell says that? Who the hell says that? Like, in my mind, I'm imagining a white kid, you know what I'm saying, typing in, as a black man, I feel that you are wrong. Dude, shut up. Shut up. Like, dude, who the hell says that? That's like me saying, oh, my black friends. Dude, if I'm going to be talking about my black friends, I'm going to call them in. You know what I'm saying? And have them be like, yeah, I'm his black friend. We're all Bill's token black friends. You know what I'm saying? Like, they would probably do that too. And I would be happy to be like, yeah, I'm the token white friend. You know what I'm saying? That's completely in my personality. I probably have said that at one point. Regardless, this guy goes and says, also, are you trying to be a white knight? I don't like to get into toughs with people because I'm from Asbury Park, New Jersey. Look us up. Dude, plus I was also in the military. There is pretty much nothing that, and even if somebody wasn't 6 years in the military, if you were in basic training alone, I feel that you have the thickest skin in the world that nobody can say anything that you will take personally and actually get triggered. You know what I'm saying? Because, like, dude, I don't know how many guys out there have had 5 or 6 drill sergeants surrounding you and feeding off of each other, calling you a homosexual back when it was allowed, hitting you sometimes, yes, back when it was allowed. Even when it wasn't allowed, guess what? It still happened. I had a freaking female drill instructor from a different platoon, a different company, crack a freaking clipboard over top of my head. I don't think she was actually trying to break the clipboard, but she did it. And it's like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? Sue her? She got away with it. You know what I'm saying? The look of surprise in her eyes for that split second was enough. Insulting me afterwards and saying, you know, how dare you drop and do push-ups? How dare you break my clipboard with your thick skull? Whatever, man. It's a great memory to have. You know what I'm saying? I don't think she gave me a concussion. But the idea is she's probably hit lots of people over the head with that thing. That was probably the reason why I broke in the first place. I was the final straw, you know? But, like, the idea is, like, you know, we're in the freaking military, man. It's our job to have thick skin in many ways possible. If only we were thick enough to be bulletproof. You know what I'm saying? But, regardless, like, I'm not going to be insulted by what anybody... You could sit there and talk about my mom, dude, and I can dish it way better than I think that most people can. Come on, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on. So I really wanted to just turn around and be like, dude, I will be your white knight if you're going to be my princess, Cupcake. Like, I was on the verge of typing that, and I thought, why am I going to get into a flame war with this clear dweeb on the freaking internet? You know what I'm saying? Like, dude, he's my princess whether he thinks it or not. You know what I'm saying? So I don't really care. You want to call me a white knight? I'll be happy to be your white knight. You know what I'm saying? Just what kind of how recently, Zick says, recently, it was this week. It was sometime this week. Go and check out Marvel on YouTube, does a cosplay. Usually when I comment on the Marvel, fortunately, I guess I'm saying enough things that actually make sense, that are relevant, that people enjoy hearing, or at least want to comment on, that I usually get moved to the top of the list. So you shouldn't have to scroll down too far to see me. I usually have a lot of likes on the things that I say, and a lot of comments on what I say. So I'm usually, if not at the top, near the top, like second from the top. So you shouldn't have a hard time finding that at all. Either way, do you think that Spidey's going back to his... Oh, life's a garden, you gotta dig it. Yeah, agreed. Crap, I'm missing a lot. First off, Aaron Nardone, message retracted. I didn't know what you were saying, my man. I'm sorry. What do you call it? I feel the same thing about... oh, yeah, the White Knights. Okay, so Kirik 2001, Venom's been written weird for sure. And you know what? Sorry, just really quick. I just have to throw in there really quick. You know that the coolest people in the world were always the ones who stuck up for the little guy as opposed to the bullies. Like the bullies, I was never a bully in school. I'm 6'5". I was in the martial arts since I was 8 years old. You know what I'm saying? I know how to fight. You know what I'm saying? Even to this day, I don't back down, even from when somebody's actually bigger than me, whether in height or like physical size. I'm just not the type of guy who's going to get intimidated by anybody. Just come on, man. You know what I'm saying? Most of the times, punches aren't even thrown. If a punch is thrown, I can take your punch. You know what I'm saying? So come on. But, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's the bully, and then there's the guy who stands up against the bullies. And that's not necessarily the nerd who does that, although I'm absolutely a nerd. I'm the guy who would literally be like, okay, dude, seriously, like, you're punching down. This guy's half your size. Fucking stop. All right? Come on. Stop. You know? And it's like, oh, no, man, this guy needs to know what? That you're bigger, so therefore you're smarter? That's not exactly the case. Stop. This is only going to get worse. You know what I'm saying? Being the biggest does not mean that you're right. It absolutely does not. Being able to insult somebody else more does not make you right. Once you start insulting or trying to get physical with someone, brother, those are the two sole things. You've already proven that you're wrong. And even if you're too thick-headed to get it, even if I could break a clipboard over top of your head and you don't get it, I can assure you, every single person around you, every single one of them agrees with me, not with you. If you are bullying someone and you're insulting someone for whatever reason, some people may laugh and whatnot, but they're not going to go up to you and be like, oh, dude, man, because this isn't the playground anymore. This is adult world. And they're going to go up to the victim, and that's exactly what they're calling him, a victim, him or her, the victim. It's like, dude, that guy was a jackass. You know what I'm saying? That's who they're going with. And anytime that these people see you again, that's your reputation from this point on. Oh, you're the dude that if you say something he doesn't like, he's a snowflake. He can't take the things that you're saying. I don't feel the need to insult anybody. I just don't. You know what I'm saying? I'm that guy. I know my successes in life. I don't need to belittle someone or to get into a flame war with somebody. So, you know, the people who have the thinnest skin are usually the people who are throwing out the insults. That's called being a glass cannon. You know what I'm saying? You can call me a white knight. I'm more than happy. What's a white knight? It's a guy with full armor and a big freaking sword. And what are you? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just the way I look at it. Stan Lee with his joke, when somebody says F you, he's like, thank you. Thank you for wishing upon me one of the greatest feelings in life. Like, dude, it's just words, man. It's just words. And if that's the best you've got is words, I feel sorry for you. And that's probably the biggest insult you can ever give to someone, is feeling sympathy for them, because they're clearly mentally deranged. Okay, moving on. Venom has been written weird for sure. This is Carrick 2001. And yeah, it's going to be called Venom Inc. Oh, I already don't like the name. And Flash Thompson appeared in Amazing Spider-Man 789. That was the one. Okay, that it was. Oh, that's what Sean Sidrai was saying. Okay, thank you. Sorry. What do you call it? Yeah, Sean Sidrai. Get the Batman White Knight comic. Will have Joker Harley sex scene. Awesome. Also, oh crap, they called Batman a White Knight. Actually, Joker is the White Knight in that one. Okay, so moving on. The dude abides. He says, "Life's a garden. You got to dig it." There you go. Okay, yeah. You gotta kind of dig in to make the flowers grow. Also, you like that Spidey's going back to his roots. I like Peter as CEO of a big company, but I don't mind him going back to his roots. I liked him being in charge of being the CEO of Parker Industries, but I do agree that he didn't earn it. You know what I'm saying? Otto Octavius did all of that. Every single cool invention that he's got, everything. Just when Parker got all that stuff, it was like, I got a PhD in physics, but I'm a chemistry guy, not a physics guy. Yeah, he had no idea what to do. Parker Industries, I've got a company now. What do we make? Okay, we're making all these cool things that have nothing to do with chemistry. How about webs? Can we make different kinds of webs? We should make different kinds of webs. That's what we should do. And that's what he did. He made different kinds of webs because that's what he knows. He doesn't know how to do all this stuff. He doesn't know how to do any of this stuff. And Dr. Octopus absolutely had his life more in control than Parker ever has. And he can't handle the actual life. So I liked him as a CEO. But then it was typical for me. I loved to hate Parker when he was yelling at Dr. Octopus, "I'm not giving you anything. I earned all of this stuff. I deserve all of this stuff." Get the hell out of town with that. Please tell me how you deserve any of this stuff. How you earned a lick of any of it. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. Anyway. Let's see. Zix Dano. If Marvel and DC ever did an amalgam comics again, who would you want to see them amalgamated? I don't know that I would want them to do it again. I really didn't like it. I know like the whole Dark Claw thing was really popular with people. I didn't like it because I knew it wasn't going to last, and it was literally just an kind of thing for me. Let me think really hard. I would probably want something with I love Hawkman, but I would probably want something with Aquaman. Who would I want on the Marvel side? The Aqua Spider. That would be interesting. The Hydra Spider. Okay, I'm going to be really stupid and say, like, Hydra Man. You know what I'm saying? What about if we had a Aquaman and Hydra Man thing? Oh, wait, no. No. That would actually be Aqualad. that would be him. So, crap. I forget what his name is currently in the comics. Damn it, he was just in the most recent Aquaman. Oh, I missed Aquaman. Aquaman was supposed to come out this week, and it didn't. It's going to be next week now. Not happy with that. Don't delay my Aquaman, dude. That's my wet Game of Thrones. Okay, so Zix, now you tell me what you would want to do, Zix. What would you want to see? Who would you want to see amalgamated? The dude abides. They did. It's called the Amalgam Universe. Shut up, man. Stop being mean. He knows. That's why he called it the Amalgam Universe. I want to see Thanos and Darkseid, though. You know what's funny is I thought that was one of the earlier thoughts that I had when I'm running through all the characters in my mind. Because they actually didn't do that, did they? Go figure. I love jerk comments. That's awesome. Where's Dick Fillmore, man? I bet you the dude abides and Dick Fillmore together would be vicious. Plus, this is like the perfect conversation for him. What's wrong with Spider-Man today? He'd be like, oh, you know what? I've got a list that I keep on me. Let's issue number 1, subsection A. He just like give his list of grievances. Zix, really? How recently? Oh, I just did that. Scroll up, lift my ass off. The dude abides. Zix Zeno. Have you ever heard of Dark Claw? Oh, wow. This is the conversation I just had. His enemy, the hyena. Yeah, Wolverine and Batman, right? Yeah. Not as cool as either sounds, though. Wow. Zix, Nemesis. Dude abides. Then you get Joker and Sabretooth. I forget how hyena is the name or something. Yeah, I think you're right. I think it was the hyena. Because laughing with claws and, yeah. It did make sense. It did make sense. Zix Nano, if they brought back an amalgam tomorrow, who would you want to see top 3? I don't know. I like Otto as Spidey more, actually, of course. This is Carrick. Pete, who do you like more? Now, I don't want to see Ock come back as Spidey, as Peter Parker, but I do want to see him come back as the Superior Spider-Man. I want to see him go the way of good again, but his way of good. You know what I'm saying? Like if Spider-Man and Punisher ever crossed, they would become Dr. Octopus. You know what I'm saying? I want to see that Superior Spider-Man come back again with his new advanced clone body. That's what I want to see. And I loved his Hydra costume. You know, not the Hydra symbol itself on it, but like that white. Damn, that looked good. That looked really good. Let's see, the dude, Thanos, Darkseid, Wonder Woman, Phoenix. Zix, Nano, who's your third? I love when you guys are talking with each other. Hydra Bob and Jimmy Olsen. Nice one. Aaron Narndo, this is something I was wondering, is Spider-Man really with Mockingbird? Yes, unfortunately, because he's seeing that comedian in Spectacular Spider-Man, which is part of regular continuity. I don't know that either are in regular continuity. I don't know if Marvel knows what the hell regular continuity is. Remember when Marvel was the one that always had perfect continuity with everything? There would be no crossovers unless it was known. There would be no bleeding over of characters. Everybody knew, like the editors were on top of that stuff, man. I don't know what the heck ever happened to that. Whatever happened to that? Axel Alonso just doesn't seem to care. Go figure. Anyway, Nix, I would love to see Flash and Spider-Man. Hilariously speedy Spider-Man. Nice. That actually would be pretty cool. Okay, so hour and a half on this thing. The puns. It looks like Spectacular Spider-Man is taking place a little before Amazing. It's still confusing. You know, they did actually... It is in continuity according to the individual writers, but I don't think that they're actually talking to each other. Because they do each reference parts from... Secret Empire. They do both reference, and they do mention once in a while, this happened before such and such, or this happens after such and such. I forget exactly what it was. But, yeah. So, Sean, good night, and take a show your Twitter messages. All right, let's see. As long as there's no nudity on here. Sean doesn't send me nudity. Don't send me nudity. Not that I'm stuck up or anything. My wife just sent me porn recently. My wife's awesome. Let's see, what do we got here? Boom, ba-boom, ba-boom. Wonder Woman issue number 700 does look good. So sad this is just a variant, and DC won't go to original numbering. Yeah, that's a shame that they won't go to... no, I get it. You know what they should do? I think it was DC that did originally do both numbering. They had the new numbering, and they had the original numbering side by side with each other. That I think they could do. You know what I'm saying? And put down, like, the volumes. Because, like, the DC Wikipedia page doesn't... It's not in as much order as the Marvel Wikipedia page. I wish I could take more credit for the Marvel Wikipedia page being in the order that's in, but I do, like the Marvel Wikia, the Marvel fan base, the Marvel database, if you ever check that out, that's a really good play. Unfortunately, there's a lot of... I think he got some nudity on there. Thanks a lot, dude. What do you call it? There's a lot of plagiarism, unfortunately, on the Marvel database. But a lot of the pages that are on there, I have contributed to or written completely. A lot of the old school writers and artists, I'm the one who completely did the biography for several of these people. Like Gene Colon is the one. Like I did a lot for Stan Lee. I did a lot for Jack Kirby. I did everything. Maybe somebody like corrected something or added something for Gene Colan, but like I did everything for Gene Colan. There were several people that I did. Anyway, there's a bunch of people that I did, and I completely did those. I did some of the old video game stuff, like from way back in the day, like the disk drive stuff, the MS-DOS stuff. But anyway, yeah, I did a lot of that stuff. So I know that that is in a lot of order, and it will say, you can see which volume of which series and which title and all that stuff, so you can very easily follow along with all that stuff. The DC database, not nearly as in order, unfortunately. But the DC universe is completely out of whack. Like there's the pre-crisis, there's the New Earth. And those two are completely separate universes, completely separate characters. You know what I'm saying? Like now you can technically say that Superman of New 52 and post-crisis Superman are the same now because that's the rebirth Superman. But at the same time, So then you also got the Flashpoint Superman, which was completely different at the same time, and just there's just so much that's a little bit wacky, you know, it's a little loco en la cabeza, so I don't really know what to say about that. Anyway, yeah, I have been going for a really long time. I have a lot of work to do. I've actually got somebody on Facebook who's waiting to talk to me about the Marvel Face Rip game that I'm running every Monday night at 8 o'clock New York, Toronto time. It's not here on my page. I may do something like that on my my YouTube page also one day, but right now I'm doing all of that on the other YouTube channel called Nerderkey. That's these three guys who do mostly Dungeons & Dragons stuff, but a whole bunch of role-playing stuff. And like I said, every Monday night at 8 o'clock, and I have a lot of fan participation. I actually get the fans to roll dice also. Get 2 10-sider dice because I will have you participate. What do you call it? I actually run, I GM, I judge a game of the old Marvel Face Rip role-playing game for one of the Nerderkists and several other pretty popular role-playing guys in the YouTube Dungeons & Dragons community or role-playing community. So by all means, go and check me out on Nerderkey on YouTube on Monday nights at 8, New York, Toronto time. Let's just finish these comments up really quick. Bitten, 6 Nano, you're great. I love your comments. Because Spidey is wearing his all-new costume in Spectacular, but amazing. Exactly. He's wearing the older costume. Wearing the regular clothes, but yeah, continuity is messed up at the moment. Yeah, so that is, it sounds like before. Professor Bill 92 of 3,000 contributors or something like that. I lost where the yeah. Oh, wow. You actually looked it up. Yes. Actually, I think I'm 93 right now. I got bumped recently because I'm only doing minimal. Anyway, but yeah. Okay. Yeah. You actually saw me. So you actually know my real name. Zix Nano. Imagine Speedy Spidey having shoes that made webs. That's actually a really good idea. I like that. Make it even more science-y. The dude, Zix Nano, you just gave me my next face rip character. Dude! Nice. Zix Nano, laughing. Aaron Nardone, Peter Parker seems to get around a lot for a guy who's considered a guy down on his luck, right? And they're actually returning him back to the down on his luck Peter Parker. Go figure. Okay, anyway, I've got a conference call with a dude about a thing on the place. That's my old Sicilian coming out. Plus, my wife bought me shawarma right before this started. So, yeah, I'm going to try and partake in both. All right, guys. Seriously, this was a long one, but thank you so much for making this interactive. Even though it really got sidetracked, whatever. I'm totally cool with it. Anyway, yeah, I'm going to bounce. So, seriously, thanks a lot, guys. Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Class dismissed.